I'm Alastair Hendy and welcome to my home. Each week on No Meat Required, I'm going to be cooking some great tasting food with all the wonderful flavours, textures and colours of fresh vegetables and fruit. I'm also going to have great fun in showing you how easy it is to cook good food without meat. I have a guest cook on my programme too, and they'll be showing me and you one of their favourite meat-free dishes. But more about my guests later. In the meantime, I'm going to get down to the kitchen and do some cooking. My first recipe today is going to be rosemary mozzarella potato cakes with celeriac and fennel. So we've got some lovely root vegetables here. I've got a celeriac, which is this rather big looking monster here. Obviously potatoes and some fennel, and the rosemary is here, this lovely big bunch, lovely chunk of rosemary. Now the first thing I'm going to do is explain that I've got some things already cooked. Now, I've got some mashed potato here, which the potatoes have just been simply boiled, floury potato, which has been mashed with some double cream and a little bit of butter. And I've also cooked some celeriac, which has also been mashed. Now, they haven't both been cooked in the same pan because celeriac is a little bit faster in the cooking process. Now, I just want to show you how to peel a celeriac because it can be a bit of a problem thing to deal with. And you don't want to use an ordinary peeler, the best thing is a knife. But before you start, you should always have some acidulated water at hand, which is a fancy word for just lemon juiced or vinegared water. It's just to stop the lovely pale flesh of the celeriac going brown once you've peeled it. So we're just going to put some water with that lemon juice in that pan. So that when I peel my celeriac, it's all going to stay lovely and creamy looking. So just cut that in half. You can be quite tough with these things. And down with a knife, because you've got lots of little rooty bits in there which you really need to cut out to get right in. As I say, a peeler, well, you'd take all day if you're trying to use a peeler. So the best thing is a knife, and just be quite brutal, all the way down, around. Then you can chop that into chunks about so big, like that. And 1/2. And that will go on the stove, as I said, for about 15 minutes. It depends how small you cut your chunks. So good in that, a good old hammering. Pop that on the stove and leave that. Now, I'm not going to cook that now because, as I say, I've already got some. It goes lovely and soft, but I'm going to throw away these bits. And you just mash it as you would a potato with a potato masher. Touch of olive oil or milk. And actually, in my mash, I did drop in a little bit of the old truffle oil because that gives it that lovely mushroomy essence of flavour, but that's just a pure optional extra. So, how to make my potato cakes. I do have some already done, but I'm going to show you how to make one. Now, what's in the middle, the special ingredient inside the potato cake, is some mozzarella. So, take one mozzarella. Now, I've got buffalo mozzarella here, which is actually a slightly better one. It's a more creamy, mild, textured and flavoured mozzarella. So, cut it into 4. Take your mixture, celeriac and potato, bring it together, and season as well. I mean, do taste. I did cook that with some salt, but it needs a bit more, and some pepper. And you can put a bit more oil in there, or cream and butter if it's not quite, but you don't want it too wet because you've got to make cakes out of this into like ball shapes. So we take some of our mixture and take a piece of mozzarella, put it in the middle, cover it all around with a potato. Quite simple like that. And these are quite big cakes. That's a little bit too big, that one. Make it a bit smaller, but quite generous. So cover that mozzarella all the way around and make a nice little ball like that. And what I'm going to do is it's going to be coated in some breadcrumbs, flour and egg. Now, not ordinary breadcrumbs, because what I'm going to do is put some rosemary in it. And rosemary is a lovely herb. I love rosemary, but you can't eat it raw. It's not something you can chop up and put into a salad or something. It should always be cooked. So this is going to go into the breadcrumbs on the outside, and it's going to give that lovely rosemary flavour right into that mozzarella and celeriac potato cake. So we're just going to chop that up finely, like so, and put that with our breadcrumbs here. So you take your potato cake, First thing is roll it in some flour, like that, really easy. Roll it round, and then into the egg. See, what they do, the flour holds the egg, and then once you've got the egg all over it, the egg then takes on the breadcrumbs. Quite straightforward, so you roll that all around like that, and you get this wonderful rosemary breadcrumbed potato and mozzarella cake. So when these cook, the mozzarella melts and goes all delicious and gooey in the middle, so you get a lovely creamy centre. So what I'm going to do now is just rinse my hands because they're covered, and I'm going to get my other potato cakes on cooking. But the best thing to do is to chill that in the fridge, and I've got some chilling, that firms them up and will keep them held together while they're cooking. So what we've got in here, there's some already done. They're going to into the deep fat fryer, which is actually set on 190, which should be about right to cook them, and they'll cook for about 3 minutes. And while they're cooking, I'm going to make a quick fennel salad to go with them. So just let them bubble away in there. Just turn up the heat a fraction to get them really cooking. And come to my fennel salad. Now what I'm going to do here is just cut a bulb of fennel very finely into some long lengths. So cut it down the middle. Just trim off the ends. So I use all the bits of fennel. Don't waste the green bits. They're all edible. And just cut some very fine slices of salad like that. Now what I've got here is some that I've done already. Now what I've put over there is some olive oil, lemon juice. In fact, I love lemon juice. Let's put a bit more on. Lemon juice, olive oil, and I've got some flavoured oils here. I've got a orange citrus oil and I've got a lemon oil. So let's have a bit of orange oil on it. As I say, you could use a bit of chili oil even if you wanted to. Use your flavoured oils, be liberal, get some flavour in there. And what I'm going to do is to serve up. This will be served along with a bit of, what I've got here is a bit of mayonnaise, which has been beaten with a bit of garlic, and we'll add a bit more lemon juice to this as well. So we're going mad with the lemon today. And that's going to give it a lovely, and what we call an aioli, which is basically a garlic mayonnaise, which you could eat with this. So to serve, let's get the old serving bowls over, and hopefully let's check on the old potato cakes and see if they're done as well. Well, they're almost there. Just give those another minute, and I think then we'll be done. Right, my potato cakes are ready, time to get them out. They look perfect, they're golden, they look crisp. I can smell the rosemary, it smells fantastic. So just going to whiz those over to here. And I'd better use a pair of tongs because I'm going to burn my fingers. So I'll use this little spoon here. Now what we're going to do is put a bit of fennel into these bowls. Now you could serve this on a plate, but I'm putting it in bowls. I'm going to pop some fennel into each of those bowls. Lovely, it's been macerating there for a little while now, so it's quite soft. And it's a lovely texture, and it gives a lovely little aniseed contrast to the crispiness of these little cakes. So just pop the fennel in, and then for our potato cakes, with a lovely little mozzarella, melting mozzarella inside. And a couple in there too. So here we have my mozzarella celeriac potato cakes. I'm going to just put them on this cloth so they're even nicer. With a fennel salad. And that's it, delicious. See you after the break when I'll be cooking jacket sweet potatoes with saffron mint butter, and I'll be joined by Caroline Bretherton. Welcome back. My guest today was a model for 8 years, but her passion for cooking inspired her to become a private caterer. Known as the Queen of Canapes, Caroline is forever miniaturising classic dishes. She was a guest on Light Lunch and has appeared many times on the Carlton Food Network. She also owns and runs Manor Cafe in London's trendy Notting Hill. Hi, Caroline.
Hi.
You got good action there, peeling.
Thank you.
That's like really fast.
Yeah, a little left-handed thing.
So, sweet potatoes, I see.
Yeah.
I'm going to be doing something with sweet potatoes later, but Caroline, I think, is going to do something rather special for us now in the way of a tagine.
I'm going to do kind of like a tagine, although strictly speaking it's not, because it's not cooked in the pot, but it's a sweet potato and pepper tagine with chickpeas, served on apricot and coriander couscous.
Wow. Right. Tell me what to do.
If you could prepare the couscous for me, that'd be great.
I'm going to put some of this stock that we've got here just to cover, just up to grain level.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm going to just fry off some red onions over here with some olive oil. I've got about 2 onions in here.
So that's the start of like the sauce for the tagine, is it?
Yeah, it kind of makes the stew sort of base. I mean, most stews start off with onions and garlic.
So I've just covered it to this level. I just think we'll show everybody because this is very important when you prepare couscous. It's not too much stock or liquid over the top because it just takes in all the water you give it, and it can go really stodgy if it's not correctly done. That should be just right. Sorry, I'll let you carry on.
That's fine. I'm going to chop up some garlic actually to add it. Perhaps you could dice the garlic for me.
I can.
Really
just very finely.
Yeah, I'm going to add that into the.
Okay.
Add that into the onions.
Do you want some more sweet potatoes, or have you got enough there?
Yeah, I've got enough because I've got a couple over there.
I've got enough. It's a couple peeled.
Yeah,
that's
if
right.
we can prepare that one as well.
Now I noticed that you're using the orange flesh sweet potato.
Yeah, I find it a lot sort of just more colourful.
It's got more colour. It's got the same flavour, I think, as the other, but it has a much nicer colour. We've got. This is the other one, isn't it?
Take that over there.
This has a pale flesh, but this one with the brown skin has the orange flesh. So this one will have a pale inside.
I think the pale flesh ones are quite good for dessert recipes when you want something a little more stuff on.
Right. Well, I didn't know that actually. That's something new.
Yeah, there are a lot of Australian recipes with sort of, you know,
with the pale one.
Yeah, and stuff like that. Right, now that's cooking away nicely. I'm going to add some herbs into here. If you could just chop me.
Chop up the sweet potato.
Yeah, spices, not herbs. I've got cumin, cayenne.
And that's been toasted, that one,
yes, I'm just looking at that.
Yes.
It's lovely.
Yep.
Right, basically, cumin isn't that hot, so we're going to put about a tablespoon of that because it takes quite a lot to get the spice through, but just a teaspoon.
So if you toast the God, I'm calling it herbs.
Coriander.
If
Spices.
you toast the spices first, it brings out all the flavour, doesn't it? The spice, which is absolutely great.
They do it a lot in Indian cookery to release the flavours, and in most Asian cookery, in fact. So that just sizzle for a couple of minutes and you get all the smell just sort of coming up now. If you could whiz over, actually I'll just grab those.
What's that, tomatoes? So you've got tinned tomatoes.
Yeah, just ordinary tinned.
I mean, when you're cooking with tomatoes, that's all you need. Tinned tomatoes are very good, aren't they?
Yeah, well, it's like someone else has done half the cooking for you.
And you haven't got to peel them or...
Normally I'd add more water, but I'm actually going to pinch the rest of this stock that we used for the couscous, seeing as it's left over.
You might as well use it, yeah.
Absolutely. This is a very good vegetable stock.
Now, am I doing these potatoes correctly for you?
That's absolutely lovely. Right.
I think they've got to be just about the right size so they cook through, haven't they?
Yeah. Sweet potatoes don't take as long as normal potatoes. They're quite deceptive. You
Shall I bring them up ready for you?
Yeah. If you could just...
It's there.
Lovely.
Gosh, I can smell it.
Can you smell it all coming off now?
That smells really good. Delicious. And this is,
right.
we're talking Middle East, Morocco here a bit,
yeah,
aren't
basically, with sort of my own particular influences.
And the chickpeas, do you want those at hand?
Yeah, the chickpeas are just normal tin chickpeas, straight from the supermarket. Drained,
tin, drained,
rinsed probably, because they're quite briny when they come out of the tin. And onto that, I'm just going to put them in again. They've already been cooked, so they just again need to be heated through. They can take...
Tomato puree?
Yeah, about a tablespoon.
Okay.
If I take that there.
Yeah, and you've got some honey here, I see,
I've got some honey. I find that it actually brings out the flavours a lot more.
You're quite right. I love honey and tagines. It gives it that wonderful, sweet, rounded flavour, doesn't it?
There you go.
Great, I'll move those away. I'll clear up for you.
Thank you. And then the last thing to add to this is some peppers. I'm going to use a red pepper.
I'll chop those quick because we haven't... You want a red and an orange one, yes?
Yes, please. Just dice into the
I've got a handy way of chopping peppers here. I think you just sort of chop, chop,
chop.
yeah,
so you just cut all around the seeds.
All around the seeds.
That's very good. Lovely.
There you are.
Fantastic.
Okay. So what do we do? We let that simmer away for...
we'd let it simmer away for 10 to 15 minutes, really just until the sweet potatoes are soft. You can cover it and then turn it down to simmer.
Okay.
That's about ready now. I'm just going to bring that over.
Okay, and I'll anoint a little bit of olive oil in here.
Yes, please.
As we say, anointing it. Just stir that through to give it a little bit of
Fantastic. If you
flavour.
could stir the apricots in at the same time.
Okay.
And then I'm just going to chop a tiny bit of coriander.
Right.
That's
going into the couscous as well.
And actually it's being used 3 ways. 3 ways with coriander. We'll put it into the couscous, into the stew, and then garnish on top as well. So we put a little bit in there.
I'll stir that through. Yeah.
But
I'll start serving this into a bowl, shall I?
That'd be lovely, yeah.
Okay.
I've stirred a bit more of the coriander into there.
Right.
And I've kept you some of the bigger leaves from the end.
I can really smell it. Can I have a taste?
Yes, of course. Don't go in your mouth.
Oh, that's lovely. The honey's lovely.
Yeah, it really brings it
comes through. Yeah.
And toasting the cumin seeds
Absolutely.
really helps.
So I'm just going to
Just put that there for you.
Okay. Well, some good generous couscous there, and some of these wonderful vegetables of yours. This lovely tagine. So just to recap, we had sweet potato.
2 types of peppers. I've got orange and red in there. Chickpeas, red onions and garlic with loads of spices and some honey to bring out the flavour.
It's gorgeous, and I can really smell it as well.
You can add
smells
sort of other
delicious.
things as well. If you've got some carrots hanging around or a few normal potatoes.
It smells gorgeous, and it looks, I mean, the colours are great, aren't they? There's different clashing oranges and reds.
And a bit of green on top, just to
Bit of green.
get that going.
That
There
looks
you go.
lovely. Great. So, and this is your...
Chick potato and sweet pea tagine with apricot and coriander couscous.
And for my final recipe, I'm going to make jacket sweet potatoes with saffron mint butter. And Caroline is going to help me. So what we're going to do here is, I've got my sweet potatoes, which are actually baking in the oven already. They'll go in for 40 minutes. Smaller ones like this almost could be half an hour. But what you want is to get them really baking well so they caramelise. And between the flesh and the skin, they caramelise wonderfully. So what goes on top of that is some crispy onion, which is going to be flavoured with some paprika and some cinnamon. So we need some cinnamon grinding up. I wonder if you'd be so kind to do that. So we're going to do that in the coffee grinder, because that actually really blends it right down to a powder. Best thing to use.
Do you want me to break it up?
Yeah, if you
like
just
that?
break that, that'd be great. And what also you could be great to do is if you could slice that onion really finely,
Get a
like I've got
rotten job.
here,
Lovely.
some fine slices.
Tell me some?
Yeah, you tell me. So I have a saffron butter made here from just saffron stamens and some butter. And that's just been put into a pan, gently heated, just to get that saffron flavour in there. Now, saffron is quite an expensive spice, but you only need just a small pinch of it, about that much, and that'll really flavour the butter well. How's that going?
I think that's fine. There you go.
Oh, that's great. So what we'll do is, if you just break those onion rings up for me a little bit, and toss a little bit of that cinnamon powder in there. And we're going to put a bit of paprika in as well. So a bit of paprika and some flour over all that, and some salt as well. So we get lovely flavours going in there.
Just what, a couple of pinches of that?
Yeah, a good pinch, generous, and some more onion. If you put all this onion in,
Lovely.
and toss it through, that'd be great. Now, I'll get my jacket potatoes out, and I'm going to get this just to warm through again, because I'm going to add this lovely mint here to it. So what we'll do is we get the heat on for the onions. I'm going to fry my onions, deep fry them in the oil when they're done. And I'm just going to get this to warm through. And I'm going to add some mint to the saffron butter. Just tear it off like this into there. And actually the saffron and the mint just work so wonderfully together. This came about actually because, in fact, my friend Antonio Carluccio gave me a dish once with potato ravioli with saffron and mint butter, and I just thought that was just such a wonderful, so simple combination. So I thought, let's try it with sweet potato and jacket potatoes. So it's a really easy dish, this one. You haven't got to fiddle around. Look at that, lovely. There's lovely colours, wonderful smell. So that's warming through. And let's deep fry those onions. Are they ready to go in?
How are they?
A bit more flour, I think.
Yeah, they can do it.
Get those going. I'll
Lovely.
toss those into the oil. Straight in there. They should go lovely and crispy. And I'm going to get my potatoes out now, which should be done. If you could just watch that for me, Caroline,
sure.
that would be really good. Leave them for a minute, and then and you can put them on there when they're done, when they're crisp. So they're oozing nicely. Jacket potatoes, sweet potatoes tend to do that a little bit, which is absolutely right for them. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to slice those in half and serve them on a dish that I've got here. As I say, this is a really easy recipe and it just tastes so good, all these different flavours going on with the saffron and the mint and those lovely crispy onions, which are going to give another little texture to it. So we're just going to slice those in half. Look at that colour, amazing colour of those potatoes, so delicious. As I say, you could use the other form of sweet potato which we mentioned earlier, which have the pale interiors, but this just has such a wonderful colour. I think it's a shame not to use these. So just put these down a dish. One more. And then I'm going to take my saffron butter and just dress that with that. Pop those down like that. Which I've got here.
Lovely.
I think are they crispy?
They're just
They're almost there. So we just pop this round and over the potatoes as well, because you want all that lovely butter and saffron to go in. Just pop that all over the plate. Really generous, because you know how potatoes soaks up butter. All those lovely saffron stamens too.
There they are.
And our onions.
Yeah, there's some there.
Lovely. Just top that with the onion, and here we have the jacket sweet potato with my spicy crispy onions and the saffron and mint butter. Caroline, I bought you one of my jacket sweet potatoes with the old saffron mint butter for you to chuck into.
Thank you, it looks great.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
That's all we've got time for, but please join me next time on No Meat Required for some more great tasting food.
Delicious.